Hey y'all, surprise. Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. I ain't got no sense. It's okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is an episode of AJ's Corner where we talk about a whole bunch of random stuff. And I had to pull my brother back in because we got a lot to talk about all the time and we
All
could
the
be here
time.
all day.
Mm-hmm.
But we not even going. Hey, Phil, welcome back to the show.
I just feel
Yeah,
like I should have a permanent box in it bit. You know what I'm saying? I need,
anytime,
you know what I
anytime,
mean? Just so I can like
anytime.
pop in every now and again.
I'm here for that. Anytime. We can do this
Mhm.
anytime you need to. Anytime.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to be like, hey, let's talk about it. Let's
Yeah,
record it. Let's talk about
it's kind of like Mortal Kombat when the dude would just pop in like, that's all I want to do every now and again. I just kind of
it.
want to be
Okay.
like, that's a book, and then leave.
And then go on back.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, um, there's a lot of things that we see on the internet that bombastic side eye. Okay. And
Mhm.
one of the major things today, I think we just need to jump into is the constant conversation around marriage being a contract. And
Mhm.
as a woman who strives for marriage, not looking for it, not desperate for it, I'm allowing God to move when He says it.
Oh, bullshit.
But
Hey.
he,
Mm.
He's been doing a number on me, honey, because the way I've been feeling, I'll be the cute auntie to everybody else's kids and just be all right. But
Take your time, big dog. Take your time.
so, anywho,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important because you are married, and I guess my first question is, what brought you to the choice of marriage?
What brought me to the choice of marriage? I got to the point where I realized that the woman that is not my wife is
Mm-hmm.
who I wanted to do life with
Mm-hmm.
because I was already fine doing it by myself. But after being in a relationship with her, I realized that I wanted to do it with her, and that not doing it with her was not the choice that I wanted to go with. And that was gonna be my end all be all. Like, I'm gonna propose to this woman, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she say yeah, that's it. And she says no, that is also it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't see nobody else.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
I'm good. Like, I was at peace being by myself. And then when we got together, I was like, okay, this is my partner. This is who I want to do life with.
Do you feel like it elevated your peace for
Yeah,
you?
for sure, because everybody needs somebody. I had one of the most, I don't want to say most traumatic, but I had an emotionally hard time. And if anybody know me on a personal level, like, they know I'm the one that's like stoic, like, the house is on fire. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
fire extinguisher, let's get the fire truck. You know what I mean? That's me. But I had an emotionally hard situation happen. And the only reason I made it through is because I had my wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I was just not myself for like days. And like, she helped me get through it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, absolutely. Because that you draw sometimes in marriage from your partner. And I was able to draw from the peace that she provided me because I did not have any. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't there. So,
I
well, shit.
think um I think one of the things that's difficult for me is I've been at peace so long being by myself. So normally I do not disclose how long I've been single.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of this conversation, I have been single since 2011.
Okay.
I was dating until 2013.
Right.
I was like, nigga, get out my face. There was
Mm-hmm.
a situation where it was backwards. Like he would claim me in public, but then in private be like, I'm not ready yet. Like I'm just not ready.
Ooh, now he trying to keep you off the market, but damn,
I
that's
was like, well, stop claiming me then because this is not
mm-hmm.
working. Like you don't get to
Mm-hmm.
claim me and then not claim me. Like it just don't work that way.
No, no, hell
I'll
no.
let me when you ready. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, you can't pull it off the lot and then don't pay the payments. That don't work like that. You
like
know what
it does not work like that.
I'm saying?
And then another person, it was just like, how fast can I bend you over? And I was like, not at all. Actually, I'm good on you. Thanks, but no thanks. So yeah, it's rough out here. So
Mm-hmm.
2013 till probably about like 2017, almost 2018, I didn't even entertain dating at all. My mama was so nervous because she always just be like, "Ain't he fine? Ain't he cute?" I was like,
Hey, the old folks be trying to put you on now. They
he
will.
was trying so
They
hard,
be
and
matchmaking.
I was like, and then it was crazy because it was like one of how our aforementioned church that we met each other at. They
Right.
would have people come to the church. She'd meet them, and then she'll show me their like CD or like their book or whatever, and be like, "Ain't they cute?" And I was just like, "I mean, sure,
Yeah,
yeah, he's
I for
handsome."
sure. Dez and Ty for sure was riding for my old lady because I proposed to her while we were attending aforementioned church, but they was
Mm-hmm.
riding for my old lady hard. Like, no, y'all can't match make this one. He's spoken for it. They used to ride for me hard because them old folks definitely be trying to match make you.
They be trying, and I
They
was
be
like,
trying.
for y'all, but leave me out of it.
Oh
No.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's for me, I wanted to get to marriage because I wanted it, not because it's expected. Like, um,
Mm-hmm.
my mother, she said something to me, and I think I like hit her right between the eyes when I like said it back to her because I was like 23, 24. And she was like, by now I was married with a child. I said, that was your choice.
That's right. Absolutely.
That don't mean I need to be having a husband and popping out kids because I'm 23, 24.
Yeah, I mean, I got married in my early 30s. Like
And
I I never I never looked at it as like the highlight of my life being when somebody realized how valuable I was. You know
mhm.
what I'm saying? Like I just knew I was gonna find a person that I just knew I just didn't want to go a step beyond without them stepping with me. And I was cool with that. Like I had some relationships before, but they wasn't really like same thing you saying. Like I wasn't, no, absolutely not. I was terrible. I was outside. You feel me? It was the 2000s. My t-shirt was 3X. My snap and roll was crisp. My A-town
Listen,
stunt was beautiful. The nigga was out here jigging. You know what I'm saying?
because the jigging was what was important at that time. Was nothing else
It
really
was
that
nothing else
important.
important. Yeah,
We was
no.
jigging, and that's why our knees and our hips and everything hurt. Nah,
Okay.
we was doing
Straight
too
up.
much.
But I mean, in your defense though, like look at all that you accomplished from 2013 to 2023 right now. You've accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've had a lot of experiences because I know what you do. Um, and a lot of times, like that story could be different if you would have gotten, into a relationship or into a marriage just for the sake of saying you wanted to be with somebody.
Yeah.
Because the sacrifices come in marriages, and I think that's like a whole nother conversation. Like comes to the internet, I see so much people put so much stupid stuff about sacrifices in marriage, making it seem like it's one-sided, and that's not the case in a good marriage anyway.
And I think for me, I know that I would be a person like that's okay or willing to sacrifice. But I also understand that My my flaw. I'm working on it with my therapist. I will literally give of myself at the detriment of myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so I am very good at putting my all and losing myself in someone else. And I think that, and part of the reason one of the relationship I got out of in 2011 ended was because that's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally was like, I looked up one day and I'm like, who the am I? Like, who is Ariel? Who is AJ? Like, who are you
Right.
outside of him?
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it like my first tattoo. This is where the light bulb went off. Not once did I consider my parents was gonna be pissed off or my parents were gonna be upset. I said, "Oh my gosh, is he gonna like my tattoos? Is he gonna be mad at me if I get a tattoo?" I'm like, "Girl, what? What you gonna do if he don't take it off? Like, what happens?" Like, it was kind of like a conversation. Like, of course, his consideration would have been, all right, cool. This is the person I'm talking about being with. The consideration would have been fine. But ultimately, I wasn't sure about whether or not of something I wanted because of what he was gonna think. Like, to me, that just didn't compute as healthy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, nah. But in that window of time where I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to date nobody. I realized that my value is not in who I claim to be in love with or who claims me as who I belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my value is in myself and understanding the worth that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that I'm expecting us to be equal presenters of things because, and tell me if this seems like ridiculous in thought. So everybody talks about what somebody is supposed to bring to the table, whether the man is supposed to bring the table. I'm just like, well, why don't we bring the materials and build the table together? Like, why does it have to be somebody has to
Mm-hmm.
already bring a table? Why does it have to be I am the table? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm a whole full 5-star full course meal. Like, you're gonna get an experience of a lifetime. You can't. It's not something you can replicate. It's just not. I am one of
Mm-hmm.
a kind. I understand that. I'm also a lot.
Right.
Understand that. You're gonna go home with a doggy bag or two, and you're gonna be thinking about it for years to come. I don't see why I'm expecting someone to bring me to the table.
Right, right, right,
Cause I'm like a man. I mean, I would rather. Tabitha Brown says it best. I want a partner, not a provider. I like to be spoiled. Don't get me wrong. So you can't like come empty handed to my table.
right.
But at least come with the materials. Like if you got the wood, I got the stuff to build the table. We can. I got the decorations. We can make it look nice and sturdy and
Mm-hmm.
pretty. But I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just like, if I can't have somebody who is open to and willing to meet me in the middle, not bare minimum, not just okay, I'm gonna give you the little thing, I'm gonna give you the card, let you go. I don't want that. I
Mm-hmm.
want us to be equal partners, and that's down to everything. Whatever decisions need to be made, I think that it should be an equal opportunity type of thing. And I don't see it to where a man is supposed to be my financier. That is the least of my worries. I'm expensive by my damn self.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow, some way, I figure it out.
I'm so I'm gonna start off by saying we're human beings, not human doings. So
Right.
um my mindset now, or when I met, when me and my wife when we were recording, I didn't care about what she was doing. I just wanted to know who she was,
Yeah.
who she believed herself to be. Like, and like this whole conversation of the table still falls under that transactional thing.
Mm-hmm.
What you can do for me, what I can do for you. Let's just start over. Who are you?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna stay in that analogy, right,
Mm-hmm.
of the table, so we just not gonna do anything. We just gonna sit down. This is what I'm gonna pay for. This is what you're gonna pay for. Are you gonna pay the bill? No. I need to know who I'm sitting down with.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There is so much of a focus. Like I be in these, I sometimes just like be a fly on the wall in relationship rooms and stuff, like either on Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse, which is depressing sometimes, or lives on Instagrams.
I got off the Clubhouse because I wasn't really
Yeah,
into it anyway.
just because I create content, so I like to see like trends and what people talking about, so I can kind of cater my content to around
Mm-hmm.
like just people focus on everything besides the actual person. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like at the end of the day, you have to pick the relationship that best suits your beliefs, who
Yeah.
you are, and how your soul can thrive before
Mm-hmm.
I even get to what I have to provide or what I'm willing to share or what I expect. You know what I mean? And
Am I
so,
gonna like you in 5 years? Is the question.
I mean, it's just kind of, so
Mm-hmm.
like to me, now that I'm married, like that stuff's not even important because for the most part, I mean, everybody's claiming to be an entrepreneur, but the greater majority of America works under the umbrella of a corporation. And
Yeah.
if there's anything that I haven't learned in my profession, your financial situation can change in
Instant.
a day and you can't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? It could
And
change
either way,
so fast.
and
Right.
either way, them
And
bills still gonna come around every
yeah,
every month on time.
yeah. And so like when me and my wife were going through hard times, ain't nobody gave a damn about who was bringing to the table. We were just trying to make it, you know what I'm saying? So or just like what I was talking about earlier. My wife didn't give a damn that I was making more money. You know what I'm saying? We trying to find peace, or
Mm-hmm.
we trying to get through a situation like without being malicious towards each other. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like it's so much stuff that you deal with when you talking marriage and relationships, that all of the stuff that everybody's talking about has no weight. Like no weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but yeah,
No, 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 no. You're absolutely
you,
correct. Because I'm
yeah.
also, it's also where where I got really irritated with somebody when they was talking about like how, um, I mean, prenups. Okay, sure. If you're gonna do a prenup, do a prenup. I just have a hard time thinking of something that I want to be with this person forever with the end in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was like, I'm gonna do it just in case. Um, we ever split up. I just want to make sure that I was like, so, well, what's the point of us getting married if I'm thinking about the end in mind? If I'm already thinking that we're not going to last, so let me put myself together to where I have to protect my assets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to actually just throw caution to the wind and not think that everything is meant to last forever. However, if you move with God and you move with how He tells you to move, the person that you're meant to be with,
Mm-hmm.
not going to be worried about no prenup. And we're
Right,
not going to
right.
be worried about the end in mind because the end in mind is heaven and I see you on the other side.
Mm-hmm. And I also think like people who do those types of things have experienced something emotionally
Mm-hmm.
traumatic that it makes them in their future relationships move that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't even have to be something you experience intimately. It could be something that you experienced as a child, like growing up from your parents or whoever's caring, your caretakers, like whoever was taking care of you as a child. Like all of these types of things that I see people doing in relationships, I know it's not really the problem. It's a symptom of something else that you've had
Right.
that makes you, when you finally get to a place, because all relationships really are is vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's like, I know my net worth is growing. I know that I'm building a brand. I know that I'm starting to do things and my life is changing. If my wife ever decide to leave, she's not taking my net worth. She's just moving out of the relationship. So if I made a meal this year, I know how to make a meal next year. And everybody's like, oh, well, it's money, blah, blah, blah. Like at the end of the day, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to lose when I'm choosing to be with somebody.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's not, you know what I mean? Like I don't get and that's what kills me. And I think sometimes you just so worried about the hurt that you've had and you just under no circumstances want to experience that hurt again. And
I
so,
could write a book.
huh?
I could write a book
You could. You
on
could.
the amount of hurt I have experienced, endured in my life. I could write a book alone on the last 3 years.
On
Just
I
that,
know.
just that one
Hmm.
little block of time. I am of an age where I have lived a lot of life, experienced a lot of things that but even that still cannot compare to the last 3 years. And I am woman enough to say who I thought I was and who I thought what I thought I could handle
Hmm.
still did not prepare me for the level of hurt. And I have been actively intentional about not closing my heart to everybody. Not just
Right.
not just having a love life, to everybody. Cuz I was done. I was like, nope, I don't want to open up to my mama. I don't want to open up to my brother, and I'm close to my brother.
Right.
I'm close. There's not one thing I would not tell my brother. But baby, I was done for. So I'm like, but then there's moments where I'm like, I'm sure in marriage, there's moments in there where you absolutely feel that same exact way. But I guess, how do you, I know it's a choice every day that you have to like die to yourself, like to your ego, to your pride, to like all of the things that can hinder a relationship from blossoming. I know. But how do you forgive every single day?
Forgive what
Like
exactly?
every time, like your wife, how and I'm gonna pull her in here eventually too, because I know. Um, I think the question is, how do you forgive? Because there's things it's not every single day, but there might be something
Mhm.
that kind of still comes up every once in
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
while,
yeah.
where you have to like learn to forgive that every time. So I guess, how do you learn to do that, or how are you intentional with doing that so it doesn't become a barrier in your marriage?
You just can't worry about you just can't be selfish. Like the sacrifice, like what we was talking about before the show started.
Hmm.
I give you an example. Me and my wife had got into it. I was going to the studio in Charlotte, and I had a session with an artist, and me and her had got into it or something, and I was just like, I'm out. I'm leaving. Peace. I'm not about to take these vibes into the studio. I was not
Hmm.
happy. I was really pissed. And I was on my way to Charlotte and I stopped my truck and I was like, I'll just deal with it when I get back home. And then I was like, who told you you gonna get back home?
Mm, yeah.
And it was like, you know what? Like I was battling with myself because I was like, I didn't even do nothing wrong. That's like how I'm thinking. And it's that selfishness that I was talking about. Like you
Mm,
start thinking about I, I. It's like, I have I have a daughter that sees every interaction we have. I have sons that I'm raising. I have a wife that is dealing with postpartum, who's dealing with breastfeeding, who's emotionally in a place that's hard for women, even if she was in the wrong.
Mhm.
Me letting this situation brew is not healthy, right? And
Mhm.
so you have to always have a mind state of family. Like
Yeah.
it is bigger than just how I feel right now. And I know it's not fair, but guess what, big dog? That's life. This is what you chose, big dog. Right?
Because
That
I
is
should say not
American.
playing, not
You-
playing, playing
yeah.
the other side of that. Because already the men gonna be like, we gonna get to the women and they lack accountability in a minute. But also, there's the men that's be like, well, if I'm right, then it doesn't matter because she shouldn't have
Suck it
given.
up. Suck it up. You know why? Because you're a leader. And guess what happens when you lead? You know what I'm
Sometimes
saying?
just
Exactly.
it
I,
just
I I had to think like it's not personal, bro. She really just going through a lot. It just happens to be that I am her husband and I am
mhm,
in close proximity with her while she's dealing with what she's dealing with. And sometimes it ain't gonna always be great, but I'm here. Right. So I came back, I turned that goddamn truck around, I drove 30 minutes back this way, and I was like, baby, I'm not trying to be mad with you. I love you. And I expressed how I felt. I had to stop her, like, just listen to me. Just listen to me.
yeah,
And we talked, kissed her, kissed my daughter, and I got back in the truck and went to the studio session. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to sacrifice, you have to make those decisions. Your pride cannot get in the way. You know what I'm saying? You can't take moments for granted because those are the moments that really matter the most. Like she'll remember that the
mhm,
next time something is about to occur. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you get through it. You just gotta suck that. I don't want to cuss that bad. I'm trying my best, but you gotta suck it. Like I get so pissed when men be like, Man, shut up, shut up."
listen, I think
Name a great man in history that didn't have to sacrifice something, even though he was in the right.
every man has had to sacrifice something.
Right?
And
Yeah.
I think that I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna clip it and it's gonna be very controversial and I'm going to get a lot of backlash for it and I'm okay. But I think the problem has become that because men are seen as the leaders, they just have to accept that women are going to be wrong, but they're still going to be right. And then it also, but in that, most women use that as a weapon to diminish and demean men in ways that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, a man tells you he feels some type of way and now he's gay or now he's acting sassy or
Oh
spicy
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because he tells you he doesn't like that, but then you get mad because he doesn't tell you anything. Well, what the fuck do you think? I'm
right,
going to cuss.
right, yeah. No,
I
I
want y'all to
feel
know
it.
I'm
I
not there
respect.
yet.
I
We-
respect it. It
we-
one might slip out. I'm not saying I'm not gonna cuss before the show's
I,
over with.
I'm telling you now it's gonna be a couple
Yeah,
more,
yeah,
so
yeah.
let's get into it.
But
I think that that's my biggest pet peeve right now. Like, most of the conversations, well, he should have did this or he should have did this. And actually, a funny one came up today. This man made a very valid point about how, for example, everybody is literally crucifying Nick Cannon for the amount of kids that he's had.
all right, right, right,
But
right, right.
ain't nobody saying anything about the women that have decided to have these children with this man. It's one man, maybe six women,
hmm
but ain't nobody saying that they crazy. Because
Right.
these women wanted the children with him. They
It's
wanted
true.
it,
It's
understanding
true.
who he was.
That's true.
But we talking about how irresponsible he is. It he wasn't the only one that laid down and had these kids.
That's true.
So I'm like, the accountability has to be, women have to hold themselves accountable. Like, it's just, that's an example. I'm not saying that the women are wrong or right. There's a right or wrong. That's his life. That's his family. That's what they decided to do. Can't nobody tell them that they wrong. That's their life. You can
Yeah.
be mad about it. You can say he's creating broken homes. All right, cool. But to me, that's just an example of like accountability. Or if you know you yelled at this man, just apologize. It's okay. It's okay to admit you wrong. And I
And
think I tell my clients that all the time, whether you're a woman or a man or a girl or a boy. I'm like, if you was wrong, you have to say sorry. And if you're not
right,
ready to say it, don't say it.
right.
Don't have say it, but don't wait too long to be like, I just don't want to say nothing because that whatever they shouldn't have said this and because I wouldn't have did this. Okay, but you did it. So own it. Stand 10 toes in your shit and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, there's nothing else you could do about that. And so I think, I don't know, we could be here all day. But my final question, because,
That's some
because
real frustration in there, boy.
I promise you, I get so irritated. I really do. Because I'm like, I'm not a pick me. I'm as real as it gets. I really be standing on my, if I fucked up, I fucked up. I
Right,
did it.
right,
I am human.
right.
I realize that sometimes I forget that other people are human too because I love them that much. And that's
Mm-hmm.
on me. But okay, last question.
Air it out, baby. That's why we here. That's why we here. Air it out.
Oh, this is giving me a headache because this is just so remedial. Like, this should not be a conversation. Where do you,
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to find a way to say,
Just say it, big dog. It's good. It's good.
where do you think the debauchery of marriage is a contract came from and why it's used so much as a excuse not to deal with marriage?
Culture, society, popular culture, and just the way things happen in the culture that we live in. I don't. I try my best not to get into those types of conversations of bringing up other cultures and places around the world. But one thing that we can say about the United States is that if one thing we know how to do is we know how to market things, right? And shift people's mindset with the things that we sell and push are exposed to. And the world's kind of at a place, just in my opinion, that you should have what you want and nobody can do anything about it. And
Yeah.
it's, I kind of feel like everything that happens in your culture starts to get wrapped up in the way that your society is moving. And so
Hmm.
I feel like marriage has just kind of got wrapped up in that whole, you know, transactional, get what you can get, take care of yourself type of, you know what I mean? I just think that's just kind of what happened. Because I don't think it was always like that. At
I
least to
mean,
me, in my experience of life, and seeing how and hearing how marriage has been talked about, coming up in churches and conferences and just my community, like the barbershop, the way marriage is talked about as I was a child, and hearing men like my dad and deacons talking about their wives. You know what I mean? And then to hear how people talk about their wives now as a grown man in my 30s, you can kind of just you feel the shift. My dad's still married to my mom. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know too many. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just think it's just kind of it just kind of happened with culture and the way things have happened and the obsession with um, having things my way and not being community unity based. Like it's a marriage is just it's bigger than what I can get my fulfillment.
Yeah, because
You right?
sometimes there's moments I think where they're not fulfilled, or where you could feel like you're not fulfilled, rather, I guess.
Right. Yeah, so dang, that was a long way to get to that. That if you want to cut and snip it right there,
I'm not
start
gonna
right
say
here.
I'm not gonna say
Marriage is bigger than just my fulfillment, right? Church
mm,
people like to say marriage is a ministry. Okay, then what does ministry mean? To serve. Okay, so marriage is bigger than my fulfillment because it is about serving. You know what I'm saying? So
and if you're not ready to serve, you should not be in a
right,
marriage.
right. So
So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Because everything that I do is not affecting me. It's affecting my wife. It's affecting my wife's family. It's affecting her business space. Because what she has or what I impart into her in our home is what she's going to impart into people when she out and about.
right,
And so that's how you always get the, well, I gotta meet your husband. I gotta meet your wife. You know what I mean? That's how that happens because people see what you cooking up in the crib. You know what I'm saying? They
right.
see what they call the glow. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? And as you say that, and I'm glad you got to see their representation. Um, I realized that, no shade, but I didn't see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like stable relationships.
Understood.
My house was chaos. We thank God for growth. We thank God for separation. Um, and that's not to say that like I don't think they could have worked it out. I just think that there was a moment where chaos was greater than the stableness, and I just, y'all need to go and figure this out
Right,
separately.
right, 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 right.
And then my grandparents, both sets were my grandfathers were passed by the
Mm-hmm.
time I came around. So I'm sure they would have still been married, and I'm sure that I would have seen it, but I just didn't get the pleasure of doing that. And so um I just didn't have that. But for me, didn't see it as, oh, I just don't need to be married. I saw it as, oh, I don't get the luxury of believing in the Prince Charming fairy tale where my man is going to be Prince Charming and we're going to live happily ever after
Right, 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 right.
in love. Like, I didn't get to have the fantasy that most girls have. I didn't grow up dreaming of my wedding. I still, there's things I'm like, Ma, I'm gonna do this at my wedding. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I can say that all day, every day, right now. But I genuinely, really, I really don't care. Like, I'm not super duper pressed about it. So, because for me, I want the marriage and not the wedding day.
Right, right.
And I'm like, if this, and I was like, I would rather unlearn a lot of that stuff that I have learned. Cause I'm telling you, I love my family, but I'm not gonna argue with none of them.
Right, right.
Cause y'all yell, and I'm not with the yelling no more. I just can't do it. We're not gonna get nowhere. It's not gonna work. And I feel like, but I realize I have so much love to give, and it's only so much I can give right now to the people around me. So I'm like, I'd rather just spend the time loving, figuring out the best balance of loving me before I'm at a demise of like pouring into everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know how to. Um, well, you touched a couple of things. So let me start over. And the marriage ain't gonna be perfect.
No,
And like I said, it just kind of all goes back to the table and knowing who's sitting with you at the table, right? Not how much money they can make, but can
Right.
this person handle me when I don't have the emotional or mental capacity to work through this right now? I just need some time, right?
Yeah.
That's how I am. I don't speak until I know what I want to say to you when I'm pissed off or when we're having what's the word? When we got a little confrontation or we got a dispute. I'm not just fit I'm not fitting to fire off. And if you keep pressing me, then I'm just gonna emotionally just
Explode.
right. And so I like to just go and then you know what I mean? I get my wallet and I'm like
Give me a minute. Let
and
me.
then I'm like, all right, whoopty whoopty whoop. You get the dissertation and they be like, all right, I don't want none of that. We straight, we good. My
Like you
wife is
tired.
more like she's the psychology major, so she's like, "What is the issue? Do 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 do." And I'm just
You know
like, bro,
that.
I just don't feel like that right now. You know what I'm saying? So we learn how to work through things, but you got to know your person, and that takes time figuring out how to work through it. Now to get to the other point, like you was talking about, like and that's another part that makes marriage hard because you bring in this one person who had parents that separated and divorced, or parents that was abusive, or a single parent that was great, or a single parent that wasn't there. And you got this person who the parents were great, and you bringing them together, and you're saying, be perfect, be one.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That is extremely difficult to do.
And it seems exhausting.
It is very exhausting, which reverts me back to what I said. So you have to know your person because my wife knows what I need to get refilled. So like when I'm absolutely drained and I'm just like, babe, I'm about to go play some golf. We will. Or man, we gonna head to Wingstop.
Do
You
y'all
know?
wing stop hit? This is a sidebar. Do y'all wing stop hit or is it hit or miss?
Nah, I just said Wingstop. We don't really go to Wingstop. That was just what
Um,
came to my mind because I love wings. We actually
wings are great.
have restaurants we go to. Wingstop don't. Wingstop is kind of hit or miss lately.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. Like
the
it's
frick is
like
that?
depending on the day of the week.
I'm telling
If you
you,
go, it's net like the
you gotta
day.
go early because the late nights just don't be hitting no more like they
But
used to.
see, the one over here by me, it depends on who there,
That's true.
and it could be the middle of the day or at night. It'll hit. It just depends on who there.
Let me tell you
If
something.
you
When
know the
when I
niggers
went
is
to
in the kitchen,
when I,
it's really good.
when I went to Atlanta for work, I
Uh-huh.
wanted some wings. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I
Oh
find this
Lord.
place. It was this like Asian dude there. And he had so much soul. He slick talked me. I was like, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. If these chicken wings don't hit, I'm gonna throw them in the window. Like I'm gonna drive by,
Yeah.
throw 'em at the window. I said it just like that. I was like, bro, I'm so hungry and I just really wanted some
Please don't play
wings.
with me like this.
Please don't play with me. He's like, hey, big dog, I got you. They gonna be
Now he
good,
said,
man. I
"Hey, big
promise.
dog." That's
Yeah.
you know he was smooth talking. Okay,
He definitely was with some sisters somewhere.
okay.
Oh, it was so good though. He got me some lemon pepper and what did I get? I think I got like a little regular mild wing. Some shit. Woo.
Listen, I don't like lemon pepper unless you throw some hot in there. If it's
Nah,
hot lemon pepper, wet, I'll eat it. But I
if
can't
you
do lemon pepper by itself. I don't
if
like it.
you got the right red sauce, it's just money.
No.
Okay, we up here talking about chicken.
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You know I
yeah.
get
I
sidetracked.
don't even remember what we was.
I'm sorry.
I was just
You were saying how she knows how to refill you, and sometimes you
yeah,
go
we know how to refill
off.
each other, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another thing too, cause like it'd be so funny, cause my wife, she's never had a like help the way I help her. So I'll be like,
That's it.
all right, go. She's like, what? I'll be like, go. I got, I got Lyric. She's straight. Noel Gucci, twins. They playing. Go ahead and go. And she'll be out there and be calling me like, I don't even know where to go. You know what I'm saying?
What you want me to go? Where am
Yeah, like
I?
I'm not even used to being able to just think about me because I'm always thinking about somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we feel each other, but you got to know your person before you even get to that point.
I'm finding that my biggest importance is safety and not just like a monetary safety. Again, I really have been financing myself since I was 14. I have figured
Right,
it out. I know how to finance myself. I know how to take care of myself clearly.
right.
But if I can't feel safe enough to be my full self or to feel like I can come to you and bare my soul and know that one, you're not going to take advantage of that. Two, you're not going to make me feel as if I'm a burden. And three, that you're just going to allow that freedom and that safe space and be like open to the fact that I'm not always going to be okay or want to talk about it. And so I've come to the point where if that's not a thing for me, I'm not going to be in it at all. At the slightest moment where I don't feel safe enough, if I'm not safe enough in your presence, I'm not going to want to continue. And I think at first I thought that that was a bad thing. Um because when I say I want to feel safe, people automatically think of the physical things. Like I want
Mm-hmm.
to feel that I can be taken care of or I can be provided for, and that's not what I mean. And when I finally explain it, people are like, oh, okay. But then I'm like, now I'm just like, it is what it is. If I don't feel safe with you, if I don't feel like I can be vulnerable, then that's just not something that I can really wrap my head around because I've again I could write a book on
Nah,
the
I feel that. Nah, that's important. You want your partner to be receptive of you when you have them down moments and you struggling. Like that's key. Like, but you also can't want that, and they may give you um, the support you're looking for, but it might not be the support that is easy to hear or to
oh no
receive
for sure.
the truth. You know what I'm saying? Safety is also me exposing where you're vulnerable or where you have some discrepancies, right?
Hmm.
You think of safety, you think of protections and walls. If I'm inspecting your facility or your structure, I just can't say, hey, okay, this is a great structure. If there's something there that's wrong, I got to point that out because
Right.
that's a part of providing your safety. Like, hey, there's something wrong here. You need to fix that because that's where the
Hmm.
infiltration's coming in. That's what's throwing you off. You need to
Right.
correct that. You know what I mean? That's a part of safety too. So like that's what you got to keep in mind too. Like, yeah, it's great to have somebody that'll listen to me when I'm upset and listen to me vent or I'm working through my traumas. Absolutely, you want to do that's gonna be gentle with me when I'm letting off that type of thing. But you also want your partner to be like, hey, I know
Get
you
it
got
together.
trauma. I know
Hmm.
you done been through some things, but you're an adult now, and we got to start figuring out how we gonna work through this because it's way beyond the point of when it happened and the point now where we got to start figuring out how we can get you better, right?
Yeah.
So that's a journey within itself. That's like a whole nother episode. You know
Listen,
what I mean?
I love it
Uh,
because I don't know. I love the fact that that can be something that can be it still can be so loving, but it can be uncomfortable and it can be tense. I I live in the uncomfortable. I have to because of what I do. I live in the uncomfortable because what you think I be talking about all day? Butterflies and rainbows?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So, but also keeping in mind that I have my own storms that I'm still dealing with and fighting with myself and still having to
Hmm.
occupy space with people. I have to have that uncomfortable conversation with my clients where I'm like, listen, I don't have it all figured out either. I'm still learning. We're learning this together. Like I just told my client the other day, I was like, I'm also learning how to make space for myself and still be able to make space for other people. And realizing that my space is more important
Hmm.
sometimes than being there for other people because I can't pour from an empty cup.
It's true.
And I can't continue to show up and give you space if I'm not taking care of myself. So, do you know how uncomfortable that is? Because people are paying me to be there to offer them spaces as if I have it together, and I just don't.
Right. 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 I
So,
understand.
I think I respect it more if you're truthful and tell me about myself because I realize I'm not always right.
But you saying that now, right? But I'm
No, no,
telling
no,
you,
no, no,
uh,
no, no.
hear me though. Hear me though. So you've been single for how long?
I've been single for a long time.
Right. Exactly. So vulnerability isn't the truth that you're comfortable with.
No, no, no.
You know what I'm saying?
I live in uncomfortable. I
I,
don't like it.
no, you work in uncomfortable.
No, no, no. I also live in it.
I don't know about living it.
Did you hear me say 3 years?
Here-
Did you
Here's
hear
what
me?
I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. If you single though, right? If you single, then who are you sharing that uncomfortable space with? Is what I'm asking.
We're not gonna talk about that on this here video.
Ooh, see what I'm saying? You see what your brother's saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'm hearing you. We just not gonna air that part out in this
Oh, okay.
episode
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Talk about say, talk to me now. Talk to me now. You know what I'm
because I
saying?
tell you offline, it's
Okay. Okay.
woo,
You ain't gotta tell
Jesus.
me. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm just trying to make
Oh
sure.
no, 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 I'm gonna tell you.
Make sure. Okay. Okay.
Make,
Because
make it short, sweet, and to the point.
you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't. It's the stuff uh that be between you and God. And then when your partner get into that mix, that's when it's getting real.
Mhm.
So it's not really vulnerability. That's what I mean by the truth that you're comfortable with. It's the
Right.
truth that don't nobody know but this person. That's when it's real because don't nobody know, you know what I'm saying? Like that thing. That's what I was talking about, like the symptoms. Like,
This,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
I see you getting angry. Nah, what happened to you when you was 15 that effed you up so bad that now you got this trigger when I'm trying to help you. You only thing you hear is the trauma that you experience. You're
Mm.
not even processing that this person that I sat at the table with loves me.
It's trying to love
Exactly.
you.
So
And no, no, no.
when you having these moments of vulnerability, the first thing that come to your mind isn't this person that's across from me loves me. The first thing that's coming to your mind is trauma,
You got
trauma,
me
trauma,
fucked
trauma,
up.
trauma. We not letting this happen again. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the
Ah!
vulnerability comes because he's like, all right, wait a minute. This is me. I've been here loving on you for so long. I'm not being malicious. I'm just trying to figure out why you acting this way. You know what I'm saying? And that's the correction that hurts because you either going to tap into that traumatic moment and be like, all right, I really got some shit I'm dealing with, and it's hard for me. That's a vulnerability moment. Or you can just be like, my bad, I apologize. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? That's a whole nother episode, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so again,
I'm gonna watch. I'm not a therapist. I'm really not. I
you
just
sure?
positive, man. Positive. My dad's just a pastor.
Oh, so
And
close enough.
I don't know if pastoral anointing is a thing, but I feel like I got a congregation without a church. So you know what I'm saying?
You definitely do.
I
Because
feel
I'm
like I
telling
got-
you now.
Church.
I come. I
You
will.
ain't the first person that told me that. Every time I be posting my videos on Instagram, they be sharing them on their stories like when you
Talking about
starting your
and
church.
every time I see and I be like, I'm locked in. Cause what you got to say to me? Mind your business, but say it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Man, the switch up gonna be crazy. I got an idea for how I'm gonna do it now because my office changed. I don't have a window now. And so I'm gonna switch up my content. I can't do it in a window no more. I don't have one. I know.
Mm.
I know.
Always gotta mess it up.
I know, bro. But I'm gonna figure it out though. I ain't even figured out. I got it. I just gotta get the, you know, trial and error. Trial and error.
Well, I really definitely appreciate you as usual.
Hey,
Um,
it's Nathan.
y'all make sure that y'all tap in with
Tap
Phil.
in.
I'm always gonna put his tags in the description and on the screen. And if y'all follow us on social media, you'll see it already.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you, if you made it this far, congratulations. Um,
Congratulations. This was a
you
tough
you earned a like, so go ahead and like it, comment, share, subscribe,
You feel me?
tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will catch y'all next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Album dropping in the fall. Follow me.
And I'm gonna leave it in there too.